beloved child, there are times when I do not lead you with a resounding call, nor awaken you through events that shake everything around you. Instead, I draw you into a very deep stillness, where every outside sound gradually recedes, and the turmoil within also ceases its striving. You often think that such silence is a sign of weariness, an emptiness after days of forcing yourself to endure, a moment when you have nothing left to say, no strength left to explain, and no desire to enter another conversation. But I speak to you with the tenderness of a father. Not every silence is absence, and not every wordless moment means abandonment. There are doors that open only when you stop knocking everywhere else. There are streams that begin to flow into the earth only after the ground has stopped trembling from the storm. And there are things I can place within you only when you stop trying to fill yourself with noise, with anxiety, and with thoughts chasing one another without end. In that stillness, I do not leave you drifting in emptiness. I am quietly rearranging within you what has been disturbed. After every strong wind, a house needs to be swept. Its doors need to be closed. The broken pieces need to be gathered up, and the human heart is the same. My child, you have passed through battles that perhaps even you did not call battles, a cold word that made your spirit sink, a glance that caused you to doubt yourself, a delay that left you unsettled, a small wound you thought had passed, but that still ached in a hidden place. You thought you merely lacked rest, that you only needed to sleep a little more, to stay away from people for a while, and that would be enough. But I see deeper. I see the burdens that were not yours, yet you unconsciously picked them up. I see the old echoes clinging to you like road dust after a long journey. That is why I bring you into stillness, not to make you lonely, but so that I may loosen from you every thread of fatigue, every fragment of worry, every weight that has grown heavier than what you were called to carry. Do not be quick to condemn those moments when you sit quietly by the window, watching light fall upon the wall, or remain silent in a room without being able to think of anything clearly. You think it is confusion, but I know it is the moment when you are being set down from the hurried current of life, when your mind no longer has the strength to chase every explanation. I open a narrow path for peace to enter. When you no longer wish to argue with fear, I cause fear to gradually lose its voice. When you no longer try to prove that you are strong, I quietly restore true strength to you. Not loud, not showy, but steadfast like roots reaching deep beside the waters. You do not always need to know exactly what I am doing. There are works of mine taking place in the deepest part of you, where your eyes have not yet seen and your mind has not yet understood. But the results will slowly appear in a new calmness, in the way you respond differently, in your ability to stand firm without trembling as you once did. Remember, my beloved, I do not often speak while you are rushing through chaos, because in such moments, crowded voices make it difficult for you to discern what is truth, what is fear, and what is my gentle calling. I can calm a storm in a single moment, but many times I first choose to draw you out of the noise, like a father carrying his crying little child away from the crowd, wiping the child's face, holding them close, and only then speaking what must be spoken. Many times you have asked me for direction, yet you asked while still running, prayed while still worrying, wanted to hear me while your heart was being pulled by 100 other things. So I give you stillness as a grace, not to prolong the waiting, but to make you clear enough to recognize what has already come very near, not to test you with silence, but to heal your ability to listen. There is an ancient story I want to place within your heart. One day, the prophet Elijah came to a cave while his heart was weighed down with fear, loneliness, and exhaustion. He had once seen fire from heaven, had stood before great confrontations, had believed he could endure everything. And yet, there came a moment when he sat down like a man who no longer wanted to continue. And in that lonely cave, there was a mighty wind. There was an earthquake. There was fire passing by. But what I wanted him to recognize was not found in the violence. After all of it, there came a still, small voice, a touch gentler than what human beings often expect from heaven. In that tenderness, I not only comforted him, but also restored his direction, reset his steps, and showed him that his story was not yet over. Do you see? Sometimes, even those who have been very strong must be led into a hidden place of silence, sometimes after great victories. There are wearinesses that still need my healing, and sometimes the most precious instruction does not come like thunder, but like a gentle breath within the quiet. Therefore, when you feel you do not want to speak, do not quickly think you are falling backward. Perhaps I am protecting you from words you would speak while you are not yet healed. When you do not want to step immediately into a meeting, a decision, or a reaction, do not hastily call it weakness. Perhaps I am placing a fence of peace around you so you do not go into battle while your soul is still tangled. You were not created to live by hasty reactions, nor were you called to answer every call of life immediately. There are times when wisdom is not speaking up, but knowing how to remain in me until your heart becomes clearer. There are times when victory is not moving forward quickly, but allowing me to adjust your armor, wipe away the dust of the road, and place a new lamp in your hand. Prolonged stillness is not a meaningless emptiness. It is a hidden chamber where I teach you to discern what should be kept and what should be released. There, I remove haste from you and give you composure. I remove the habit of self-blame and give you a merciful view of yourself. I remove the voices that have made you feel small and remind you that you belong to a love greater than every judgment of the world. I do not only want you to recover from the battle that is past, I want you to enter tomorrow with a different way of seeing, a lighter heart, and a quiet faith that is not easily shaken. For there are paths ahead that require clarity. Not only courage, there are doors that require peace. Not only force, there are words you will speak later that must be born from today's stillness. My beloved child, there are seasons when I no longer allow everything to remain hidden beneath old coverings. Not because I want to shame you, nor because I want to expose in order to crush anyone, but because a season has come to its close. When my light passes through a room that has long been closed, dust will appear, cracks will appear, and things placed in the wrong position will also appear. That does not mean I hate the room. On the contrary, because I still want to enter it, still want to heal it, still want to transform it into a dwelling place of truth. I cannot allow it to remain forever covered in dimness. You must understand this with peace. My truth does not come like a cruel hand tearing the garment from one who is trembling, but like the hand of a father removing the cloth that has been wrapped around your eyes for too long, so that you no longer have to walk in error. There are things outside that have been built with borrowed beauty, polished words, and respectable appearances, yet within they are hollow like a vessel without water. People can clothe themselves in dignity to conceal a hunger to be worshipped. People can use the language of love to keep others in control. People can bow their heads before the crowd, yet in secret desire a throne higher than their brothers. People can speak of integrity while quietly building private paths for their own gain. I do not come to polish those outer shells, nor do I come to help false walls stand for another season. When I place my hand upon something built on hypocrisy, it will begin to tremble, not because I hate construction, but because I love true foundations. Anything that cannot stand before my light cannot preserve you in the day of great storms. Therefore, When you see the world around you shaking, when you see what was once praised suddenly reveal its emptiness, when you see voices that seemed powerful suddenly lose their majesty, do not be afraid, as though everything were falling into meaningless chaos. Some shakings are the sound of prison doors breaking open. Some collapses are deliverance from structures that were never built by love. Some exposures are not meant to destroy people, but to end the rule of falsehood over them. I do not work shallowly like one who merely wipes the tabletop while poison remains soaked into the floor. I go to the root. I touch motives, desires, and the places where people have learned to hide themselves. And when I touch, that touch does not pass like a brief breeze. It penetrates like refining fire, causing what does not belong to life to lose its right to remain hidden. Even within you, I am doing a similar work. You once carried coverings that you thought were necessary for your safety. One layer was woven from the fear of rejection. Another was made from the habit of appearing strong. Another was born from the times you were wounded. So you told yourself it was better not to let anyone see the softness within you. I do not blame you for those garments, because I know there were seasons when they helped you survive the night. But what once helped you survive is not necessarily allowed to rule you in the season of maturity. The coat you wore long ago to withstand the cold can become a burden when I bring you into a new land of sunlight. Therefore, when I remove from you old ways of self-defense, you may feel fragile. You may tremble. You may feel as though too much of you has been exposed. But I speak to you, this is not loss, this is a return. You are not being stripped away. You are being restored to your true self in my light. Remember Zacchaeus, the man who climbed a tree to see Jesus passing by. He was a man of status, wealth, and authority to take from others more than what was fair. Yet in his heart there remained an emptiness that silver and gold could not fill. The crowd may have seen him only through his name, in his position, and the things they despised about him. But I saw a man longing to be called out of his old covering. When the Lord stopped beneath the tree and called him down, it was not a call to humiliate him before the crowd, but a call to bring him out of hiding. A man who had lived behind the garment of privilege encountered the light, and that light not only exposed him, but caused him to willingly change his path. Do you see? True presence does not need to shout in order to transform a person when it is received in the right place. It causes hands that once clenched tightly to open, causes what was crooked to be made right, and causes one who had been seen as a symbol of greed to become a sign of restoration. In the same way, I am calling you down from the branches of hiding, from the place where you want to see me, yet fear being seen by me. I do not call you with a harsh voice. I do not say, "Come down so I may shame you." I say, "Come down, for today I want to enter your true house." That true house is not the house you decorate for others to see. That true house is the place where you keep the questions you have not dared to speak, the desires you have not dared to admit, the weariness you have hidden behind a smile, the hopes you fear may be considered too great. I want to enter there, not to condemn, but to set the table again, to restore life, to let you know that you do not need to perform before me. People may love the image you present, but I love you in truth, and that very love gives you enough courage to live without a mask. Then, from the work I am doing within you, you will recognize a greater movement taking place in this age. Truth is no longer standing hidden behind the curtain like a witness forced into silence. It is stepping forward, not with aggression, but with an undeniable clarity. Things that seemed firm because many praised them may dissolve quickly, like mist beneath the sun. Those who were once considered small, voiceless, and insignificant will be placed by me in positions to speak forth the purity that many in power have lost. Dark corners, once protected by reputation, by systems, and by beautiful promises, will not be able to keep their shade forever. But remember, I do not call you to participate in a season of exposure with bitterness. You are not to stand outside the light and throw stones at those still trembling in the darkness. I call you to step forward in humble truth, with a pure life, with a heart healed from the need to prove yourself above anyone else. When you live truthfully before me, even your trembling becomes a proclamation. You do not need to be perfect before you can be used as a sign. A person who dares to lay down the old mask, dares to speak honestly, dares to choose righteousness when no one is watching, dares to love without controlling, dares to serve without seeking a throne for themselves. Such a person carries within them the breath of a new season. You are no longer merely one who has survived days of being hidden. You become a small lamp placed on the doorstep, announcing that dawn is coming. I will use your true life more than the words you try to make beautiful. I will use your refined softness more than the strength you once tried to construct. I will use your peace in the hour when masks fall, to show others that the light is not their enemy. My beloved child, true healing does not always come with a loud sound, nor does it necessarily appear as an event that makes everyone look, nor does it need to be surrounded by dazzling signs to prove that I am at work. Some of my deepest works happen quietly, like night dew sinking into tender grass, like roots silently seeking water beneath the earth, like the hand of a father resting upon the shoulder of a weary child without needing any declaration. You often long for something powerful to happen so you can know you are being renewed. But I want you to understand that enduring changes are born from small daily faithfulness. Today, you come to me. Tomorrow you come again. And the next day you still come, not because you want to create a beautiful image before anyone's eyes, not because you are trying to appear holier, but because you have recognized where true life is, where the pure water flows, where your heart can breathe again after long days surrounded by weariness. So, when you come to me, do not come like someone stepping onto a stage to prove that you are still all right. Come like a child returning home after a journey full of dust, to have your feet washed, to sit down, to hear that you do not need to strive any longer. Do not come because of the eyes of the world, because of someone's praise, because you fear being seen as weak or lacking faith. Come because I am looking at you with the gaze of love, a gaze that does not require you to dress your pain in the appearance of false peace. Even if you speak to me with only one very short sentence, even if you remain silent for 1 minute, even if you only sigh because you do not know where to begin, I still receive it as a small door. Every time you return to me, the old darkness retreats a little more. Every time you place your heart before me, the voices that once made you afraid gradually lose their power, not because you have tried hard enough to be strong, but because my light never enters and leaves everything unchanged. You need to engrave this gently within your heart. There are things you cannot heal by your own willpower. You can keep yourself from crying in front of others. Smile while still tangled inside. Tell yourself that everything will eventually be all right. Use discipline to cover the cracks for a while, but you cannot restore the deepest place within you by will alone. A cracked vessel can be turned so that the fracture faces the wall, but that does not make it whole. A broken branch can be temporarily tied with cord, but only life from the root can make it green again. I do not despise your efforts, for I know you have tried to live, tried to stand, tried to keep going through many seasons. No one fully understood. But today I want you to stop seeing yourself as the only craftsman responsible for repairing everything within you. There are places too deep for human advice. There are wounds too old for hurried explanations. There are fears that have hidden themselves for so long that even you do not realize they are directing your steps. But I know and my presence can touch what your mind has not yet named. Therefore, your task is not to draw a complete map for your own restoration. You only need to come near, and I will lead you one step at a time. You only need to open the door, and I know which room needs light first. You only need to stop hiding from me, and I will show you how to stand still without being swallowed by the past. Sometimes, while you are silent before me, a memory you thought had fallen asleep suddenly returns. Sometimes a face, a word, a scene, or an old feeling unexpectedly rises like a dry leaf drifting on the surface of the water. Do not be afraid. Not everything that returns comes to wound you further. Some things are brought to the surface because the time has come for them to no longer remain at the bottom. You do not need to dive down and seize it. Do not need to judge yourself because you still tremble. Do not need to ask again and again why you are not stronger, why you still remember, why something that has passed still causes your heart to sink. Let it pass before me. Let me place peace upon the place where it once caused you pain. There are times when the peace I give does not come after you understand every reason, but before the explanation arrives. Like a warm garment placed upon the shoulders of a cold child before that child has finished telling why they are crying. My beloved child, the world often measures by what the eye can see, how many people applaud, how many achievements are recognized, how many doors open, how many things you hold in your hands. People call someone successful when they go farther than others, possess more than others, are seen more than others. But in my kingdom, there is another measure, quieter yet deeper, whether you step according to what I tell you, whether you stop when I tell you to stop, whether you release what I no longer want you to hold. Not every increase is a blessing if it pulls you away from my voice. Not every busyness is faithfulness if it causes you to lose fellowship with me. Sometimes the most beautiful thing you can do is not to do more, but to lower your hands in peace, trusting that I am still at work even when you are no longer trying to control every outcome. I know you have grown used to thinking that obedience means always having to move forward, always enduring more, always proving your devotion through exhaustion. But I teach you a higher obedience. Sometimes obedience is the courage to rest while everyone else keeps running, to remain silent when you could defend yourself, to leave a battle where I no longer sent you to stand, to refrain from touching what you have the right to touch, because I want to protect within you a deeper purity. There are seasons of rest that are not surrender, but fields where I sow new strength. There are days when you think you have done nothing great, yet in that very stillness, I am reshaping your breathing, correcting your sight, and making the inner flow within you clear again. You are not the source of water that creates life by itself. I am the source. You are only the channel opened up when you are not blocked by pride, fear, hostility, or the need to prove yourself. The water from me will flow through you without running dry. Therefore, do not underestimate one word spoken at the right time. Sometimes I do not need you to explain at length, to build layered arguments, or to try to persuade everyone through the pressure of words. Just one sentence born from union with me can unlock a door that many speeches could not open. Just one gentle word at the right moment can lift someone from the depths where heavy advice would only make them withdraw further. Just one peaceful presence can change the atmosphere of a room. Do not confuse heavenly effectiveness with noise. Light does not need to argue in order to prove that it is light. It simply shines. And where it shines, darkness loses its place. When you are in me, you do not need to be loud in order to have influence. You need to be pure so that the light is not dimmed. Your mission is not to stand in the world comparing yourself with anyone, nor to examine whether your lamp is brighter or dimmer than another's. A lamp is not lit to compete with the lamp beside it. It is placed where the path needs to be illuminated. You are the same. I do not call you to become a destination for others to worship, but a sign that points home. If someone looks at you and finds the way back to truth, to peace, to mercy, then your life has done something precious. You do not need to pull them along by your own strength. Do not need to force them to walk at your pace. Do not need to carry the responsibility that belongs to me. You only need to stand where I have placed you. Shine the light I have given you, and live truthfully what I have taught you. A sign is valuable not because it is the most beautiful thing on the road, but because it points in the right direction. When you remember this, you will be delivered from the burden of having to become the source of help for everyone. You only need to be faithful as a channel. I want you to remember Gideon, the man who once looked at himself through small and fearful eyes. When I called him, he did not see himself as strong. He was hiding, hesitant, asking many questions. But I saw what he had not yet seen, a person who could obey when placed in my hands. And when the time came to go into battle, I did not allow him to keep a large army so he could place his confidence in numbers. I reduced it, then reduced it again, until what remained looked, in the eyes of the world, far too little. But do you see? Victory did not come from great numbers, but from obedience to the right command. The sound of broken jars, the revealed torches, the cry rising in the night, what seemed small became a sign of deliverance. I did this so you would understand that what I need is not for you to possess much, but for you to allow me to use what you have in the way I desire. When the torch is hidden inside the jar, it waits for the appointed hour. When the jar breaks at the right moment, the light throws the enemy into confusion. Your life is the same. There are things I hide for a season, not because they are useless, but so that at the appointed moment they may shine forth with power you did not create by yourself. Therefore, when you feel that I am asking you to let go of more, do not quickly think you are losing your advantage. Perhaps I am freeing your hands to receive something purer. When I tell you to rest, do not conclude that this season is useless. Perhaps I am doing something deeper than every activity you once tried to maintain. When I tell you to speak, speak with gentleness and certainty. When I tell you to be silent with trust, not with fear. When I tell you to go, go even without applause. When I tell you to stop, stop even if others do not understand. Union with me does not always look impressive before the world, but it always bears fruit in its proper season. You do not live to keep pace with the crowd, you live to keep pace with me. There will be days when you feel a strange weight upon your shoulders, but it is not a crushing burden. It is an entrustment. Others may look at you and see nothing changed, but within, you know the atmosphere is different. The wind has shifted, and my invitation has moved. At that moment, do not hurry to explain too much. Listen, stay awake, and let your heart remain tender before my leading. There are things I do not announce with loud sounds, but with a gentle prompting in the hidden place. Today you need to be more tender. Today you need to step away from an argument. Today you need to open your mouth to encourage someone. Today you need to close a door that has drained your peace. The one who lives near me will learn to recognize these movements, not by guessing, not by chasing emotions, but by the sensitivity born from many days of walking in the light. And as you move with me, you will begin to see what those standing outside do not see. You will recognize that there are streams of people being quietly led toward blessing, not by the sound of loud trumpets, but by a direction opening before them, a truthful word, a pure life, a humble heart, a decision to release what is wrong, a timely rest. All of these can become open doors. I do not need you to make everything noisy. I need you to be in the right position. I need you not to close the channel because of fear, nor to muddy the water through pride. When you are in union with me, what is small is no longer small. What is quiet is no longer meaningless. And what the world overlooks can become the place where I set my power. So, my beloved child, stop measuring your life by cold tables of results. Ask your heart, are you in the place where I have set you? Are you releasing what I told you to release? Are you speaking when I tell you to speak? Are you resting when I tell you to rest? Are you allowing the light to shine through you without demanding glory for yourself? If so, you are successful in my eyes, even if the world has not yet given that success a name. For obedience is the soil where blessing grows. Union with me is the path where power flows. And a life open to me, even quietly, can become a lamp along the road, helping those who have lost their way recognize the path home. Keep shining, my child. Keep walking. Keep stopping. Keep releasing. Keep speaking according to my rhythm. For when I am the source and you are an open channel, the water will never run dry.